So welcome to Real Life in Real Estate. I'm Nikki Robbs. I'm a real estate agent in the Tacoma and Puyallup, Washington area. And today my guest is my good friend, Rosemary Godwin. Rosemary and I met by chance at a homeschool co-op, which never would have happened except for we had a mutual friend that we didn't know about. So Rosemary, please introduce yourself, what you do, and how we met.
Well, thank you, Nikki. I'm Rosemary Godwin. I am a mortgage broker licensed in Washington State. My NMLS ID is 272677 for compliance sake. I've been in the mortgage industry forever, direct lender for many years. I love being a broker. We met at a homeschool co-op, and of course, obviously, I don't have school-age children, but my grandbabies all go there. So it was just really fun to get to know Nikki. And I think I was on the phone because I'm always working, and she heard real estate talk and introduced
Yeah.
herself, and it was on from there.
Yeah, it was on from there. And I have so appreciated your friendship. Man, you have saved or come close to saving several deals. I shouldn't say it that way. You have saved many deals, one of which didn't end up using your solution, but you did save the day many times. And
Oh,
every time someone has a problem, I throw your name out there because I've never seen someone have as many resources as you do. And
oh,
there's
thanks. Well, that's why I really like being a broker.
Yeah, so tell us more. What does a broker do, and how does that differentiate from maybe a standard loan officer or a loan originator? Can you
Mhm.
tell us more about that?
Yeah, I am a loan originator, but I work
Okay.
as a broker. And what that means is when you go to the bank, you are dealing with a direct lender where they have a certain set of products that the bank offers and they can work within that set. And I did that for many years.
Mhm.
But as a broker, I can do, if there's a loan out there that a lender will broker to me that let me do, I can do it. So I can look for odd duck little nuances that don't fit in that box. For instance, one of the things that I find is land loans. I live over in Eastern Washington, so lots of people want to buy land. And if you go to the bank, generally they don't have such a product, but I can do that. You know, I can do construction loans. I can do all kinds of niche products that are not available at banks.
Yes. And it's so handy knowing that you're the kind of person that just keeps on looking for solutions until you found one. And if you can't
Mhm.
find one, that's pretty rare.
Well, and the beauty is if I can't, I want to develop relationship. I'll get them where they need to do, even if I can't do the loan. I mean, it's about relationship. And that's what I
Yeah,
love about this business.
it really
And I
is.
know that's your philosophy too. I mean, we're relationship people.
You don't have to work with me. I want you to work with someone you really, really love. And if that's not me, let me connect you to someone that it does work for.
Right.
So, yep.
Exactly.
Awesome. So, how would someone find you and then choose you? What are some questions you like people to ask when they're interviewing lenders?
Well, honestly, people, their first question is always, what's the rate? And there's no one rate. I mean, there's all kinds of programs and products. And so, I mean, I'll give them information on that, but I like to get past that and just say, what are you trying to accomplish? What do you want? What are your goals for this? If it's refinancing, are you just trying to get a lower rate, or are you trying to build something? What is the goal? On a house, how long do you end up wanting to live in this house? Is this your forever home? You're a first time buyer. This is not going to be your forever home. Let's talk about that. I like to just kind of get underneath the, what's the rate question, because I think that's almost irrelevant. I mean, rates are great everywhere. They're all the same everywhere. It's about service and about accomplishing your goals.
Yes. And really, the rates do differentiate based on your personal circumstances and what your goals are. Like you said, is this a 30-year or a 15-year? And that can change a lot of things. So, what else do you want someone to ask you beyond what's the
Hmm.
rate?
Well,
Then
like for
what's the
instance,
next step?
now, I mean, generally, the shorter the term, go ahead.
We're talking over each other.
Oops, froze.
So, after what's the rate? What's the next good question? Especially if someone is doing their due diligence and they're talking to several lenders. What's another good question we should ask you?
Well, another question is, again, what's the difference? What does a broker do? And
Mm,
for
yeah.
instance, people are really funny about having their credit pulled. Some people are more worried about pulling their credit than they are paying their bills. I mean, to be honest, they're so worried about that score.
Yeah.
And it is nice to be able to discuss that with them, that as a broker, I pull it once and I can shop 20 different lenders
Mm,
versus going to lender and lender and lender and lender, if that's a concern. So that's comes up quite often as another question.
Yeah, that is a question I hear a lot at home, first time home buyer classes. They don't want their credit pulled 7 different times. So how can they
Mhm.
simplify? And one way to simplify is to come to a broker like you, where you can shop
Mhm.
all the things with one credit pull.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. So even though you live very far away from me, it's been very easy to work just about anywhere. I know you're licensed in Washington, but what other areas do you serve?
Um, Certain investment properties, when it's a non-QM or non-qualified mortgage, I can do in other states.
Mhm.
The brokerage I work for is also licensed in Arizona, so indirectly I can help clients in Arizona. To be honest, expanding license is just such a pain to go get, go through all the
Yeah.
testing, and then I mean I could do it, but Washington has just been such a blessing to me. I just haven't felt the need to go outside the state, but
Yeah.
again, I like to refer people to reputable lenders that I know that can help them outside of state. So I like to be the first place, and I can help direct them.
So true. You're like the little mortgage matchmaker.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Like if I start with you, but then I discover, oh, plans changed and now I got to move to Idaho. Who do you know? We call Rosemary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, and I like that when I work with agents too, particularly because sometimes agents will have clients in different areas, different states that I can be a resource there. I mean, again, if I can't do the loan, at least I can make sure they're going to close that deal and with somebody reputable.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any great stories? I know we both have a lot of confidentiality that we can't tell a lot of stories, but do you have any moments that you were just like, I was so proud of my clients, or I was so proud of the work that I did, and here was a great story of a transaction I was able to be a part of?
You know this transaction.
Ah,
My
yes.
dear, you know who I'm going to talk about. My dear precious friend um, wanted this house. She lived in a neighborhood she wasn't happy with, and she wanted to
Yeah,
raise her kids in this very specific house.
a
And when
very,
she told me, I thought, oh, I don't think you can afford it. I just really don't. I'm real protective of her. She's a dear, dear friend.
yeah.
And we spent time. We made effort. I mean, I can't even go through all the little steps we did because I like the puzzle. I'll be honest. Figuring out the puzzle is my favorite part.
Yeah,
Doggone if we didn't figure out how to get them in that home
yeah.
at the absolute top of their budget with minimal.
And with an
I
11
don't
day
even know how to go into
delay,
the details.
right?
What's that?
We had an 11-day delay also, right there at the
Yes.
end. It was not fun.
And it worked out. I mean, I just can't even, I could go on and on. I'm so proud of how this went because it was the perfect house for them. And on paper at the beginning, I thought this is not going to work.
Yeah.
But together we worked it out and the seller was happy, the buyer was, I mean, everybody was happy. And yeah, that was probably my proudest moment. Mostly because I love those guys, but also because it
I
was a
know.
complicated puzzle and I loved the puzzle. But
I'm
as the
so
as the
glad.
pieces came together,
Yes, because and it was such a great partnership for you and me and them being able to go round and round of like, we're going to solve it, we're going to fix it, there is going to be a way. And they were just as bulldogged about it as you were. So like, we're going to make it work. I can't wait to
oh
have
yeah.
them on the podcast and have them tell
Ah,
the story in their own words because it was an incredible journey. And I think people could learn a lot from all the things that they did getting ready to finally moving in. It was
mhm.
quite a story.
Well, and you make a good point on getting ready. That's something that I find that is super helpful. And I talk to people a lot. I say, okay, I'm going to have a lot of homework for you before you ever complete your application. Because right
Mhm.
now, when there's not a house pending, we're not emotional about it. It's not stressful. Let's get
Yeah.
all this stuff done up front. Because
Yes.
even if that's done, it's stressful. You're waiting that 30 days and what's going to go wrong and the inspection. And if we've done our due diligence and, the underwriter might call out one or two little things, but if we've got 95% of it done up front, the stress level for you as a buyer, way
Mhm.
less. So I really try to do that for them, make it
Yeah.
work up front and make it easy to process.
I hear from many first time home buyers that they want to pay down debt before they talk to a lender. What is your perspective on that? Because it sounds like you have a different idea.
Everybody thinks they know what they need. They think that they like a lot of people don't realize it. I'll pay my credit card off. Okay, that credit card has a $15 a month payment. I don't care about that credit card. It does not affect your debt ratio. So they need to talk to the lender first. A
Mhm.
lot of times I can do a soft credit pull, which doesn't affect their credit at all. So we know what we're dealing with. And then they have X amount of money. Then I can help them go, okay, this is the best way to use the money to get what you want. Paying
Yeah.
off that credit card might be not worthwhile, but using that money to maybe to buy a lower rate on the
Mm,
loan when the time comes, that might get the payment down to let you qualify for more. So there's strategy. So I always say, please, 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 if even if it's not me, talk to the lender first. Don't just go doing what you think is helpful
yeah.
because you might not help yourself.
Yeah. It's the homework side of getting ready, right? Like we just talked
Mhm.
about, it's getting ready financially, and hearing some strategies from a professional is so different than getting strategies out of a book. With when someone can look at your finances and your needs and your dreams and where you want to go, it's like bringing a coach onto you, onto your team. Say,
Yes.
well, get me started. I don't know what I'm doing. I think that's the best place to get started.
Well, I was thinking about this last night in advance of the call. I had a client that, she's an engineer, made a ton of money, had a huge down payment. I pulled credit, absolutely no score because she didn't believe in having credit, no score. So she
Yeah.
didn't qualify for anything.
Yeah.
So what somebody might say is, okay, go out and get yourself a little credit card and, 3 months down the road, that'll report on your credit and then you'll have a score. The easier way is I said, have your dad add you on as an authorized user on his credit card.
Mm,
We'll repull credit in 30 days and boom, you've got an 800 credit score.
yeah.
You only need one trade line and it doesn't even have to be yours. So there's ways to do things more quickly and expeditiously
Yeah.
than the traditional, okay, here's what you do and it's going to take 6 months. And
Yeah.
you just need somebody that knows what's required on the loan so you can make an
Yeah.
intelligent decision. So she was able to buy a house like that
That
because
would
we
have
got
been so
that
handy
score.
to know a long time ago because I had zero credit score because I only dealt in cash until the point I got married.
Hmm.
So I just didn't exist anywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, marry a guy with good credit. That's a good plan.
Well, that is a good plan, but
So there's other ways to do it.
well, and that's there is. And another thing I find is, people get bad advice, go out and, run up a bunch of credit cards and, carry a balance, but not too high.
Yeah.
And honestly, you get a better bang for your buck. I always tell my first timers, get one credit card.
Mhm.
Don't use it for anything fun. Use it for gas every month and
Yeah.
pay it in full. That will drive your credit score. You don't have to carry debt. You just need to show that
Yeah.
you know how to use debt.
Which
So
is good
I think there's a
training
lot of
ground
bad
because I
advice
have
out
so
there.
many young adults at home and they want to move out.
Hmm.
Like, oh, we're definitely in the years if we have to lay the groundwork so that you can move out. And one of those is having a credit score.
Yes, yes. But not carrying a bunch of debt either, I mean, if you can have a score without being, like I always say, if you're paying somebody interest on your credit card, you are not using it right. You
Mm.
know?
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you're still living at home, then let's get you on the
Oh
right
yeah.
foot. Awesome.
Oh,
Are there
another thing
any,
I see
go
a
ahead.
thing I see a lot too is people want to buy a house and then they go out and lease a car for $900 a month. I'm like, okay, that
Mm,
would have been your house payment. So I mean, you just got to really think ahead. Buy the
yeah.
car later.
Buy the car later. Yes. And for any house purchase, buy a car later, not before.
Yes, 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 yes,
Yeah. No matter whether you're 20 or 75, buy a car later.
yes,
How that goes.
yes.
Are there any
Get the
loan
house first.
packages that you would love to service that you haven't had the right client for that yet?
Oh my gosh, Nikki, I have this bridge loan I'm dying to use. It's it's called Buy Before You Sell. And what it does is it allows you to buy the new house
Mhm.
without selling the old house first. So you can make an offer non-contingent. It's too complicated to go into all the details, but basically Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the investors, will let you not include your old house payment in the debt ratio if you have an offer to purchase on it. So this lender enters into a contract with you that says if after 90 days after you move into the new house, your realtor isn't able to sell this house, we will buy it from you because we have to, to make that contingency. The realtor can continue to market it. And
Yeah.
then once it actually sells, for real, if there's any difference, they give it to you.
Yeah.
There's a fee on that, but there's no interest, there's no payment or anything. It's a slick loan. And I am just dying to be able to use this. I think it could really be helpful for people.
That's a lot easier than a contingent offer because for those of us, for those who are listening, because this podcast is for just regular people, not professionals, contingent offer
Mhm.
means that we saw your dream home. We're going to put in an offer today, and your house has to be on the market in 6 days. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh. And it has to have has to have an offer. It has to be a good offer. It can't just be any offer. And all of this has to sort of close almost simultaneously for it to work.
Mm-hmm.
But with your program, we'd have 90 days to work with and not 6. That's amazing.
Well, you need to list it, pretty soon,
Yeah.
but you don't have to, it has to sell within 90 days. Otherwise they'll buy it. And the beauty is they give you the bridge, they give you a chunk of money that you can put on the new house.
Yeah.
You're not making any payments on the old house because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculously cool.
So then we could
Yeah.
still come to you and still work out, well, what would my down payment be and interest rates and all that. And you would work that all out per person. I'm sure it's very individual.
Mhm. Oh yeah, it has to be a conventional loan. We can't do it for VA or a FHA.
Okay.
But generally, I mean, you can do as little as 5% down, sometimes less on a conventional loan. So
I love
it's, and then you bring over whatever money, you have from the sale of the house beyond that bridge money that they gave you, and you can
that.
either add that as a, additional down payment and re-amortize the loan, or you can use it for other things. You can use it for debts. You can put it into upgrading your kitchen, whatever you want. They don't limit what you can do with it.
Yeah.
Say you have a huge chunk that comes over and you only want to make a 5% down here and you have other plans for this money, you can do that. They don't care as long as I mean, the idea is just to get you into the new house.
I love that.
I'm dying to use this,
Oh, I
dying to
might
use
have
it.
to
So if
use it
anybody
on
has
my
questions,
next
call me.
I'm really torn what to do with my current house because we've got a low interest rate. So keep it forever, right? Keep it as a
Yeah.
rental or rent it out to the kids and let them just live here for a good long time while I move on. But yeah, bridge loan would make moving a lot easier.
Well, yeah, and as you know, it's easier to sell a house without everybody's stuff in it. It gives them
Oh,
time to get out and they can see it without seeing the person in it.
yeah. And I think that's the biggest pain point of being a parent and moving and needing to move to a new house is getting the kids to keep their stuff picked up on a daily basis for about 2 months straight because you're going to have showings and inspections and it's
Oh yeah.
impossible. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Laundry, I mean the whole 9 yards.
Right. And take the dog and never have dirty dishes and
Hmm.
no one colors on the walls while it's for sale. It's just, it's so hard. And even though they're
Well,
all
this takes
out,
care of that. Hmm.
right? I wouldn't have to worry about that. Even if they are in their 20s, like, your room can be a mess and I don't care.
Hmm.
We will deal with it slowly instead of the frantic mom that I had to be when we were selling was like, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Oh my gosh, we have to leave the house in 30 minutes because we have to be gone for 2 hours and we're going to a park. And then we just have to stay gone for a while.
Oh my gosh. And this way you're already in the new house. You don't even have to think about the old house again. I mean, it's done. You're moved out. You don't have to think about it.
Yeah. So there you go. All parents, you need to talk to Rosemary. Because this will make
Hmm.
buying so much easier, so much less stressful to do it that way. Wow, that'd be incredible.
Hmm.
All right. So, what are your house plans? You seem to be in your forever home now. Is that right?
Yes.
And what are you going to do
Yes.
with it?
Well, as you know, so we moved during COVID. I realized that, I mean, it was terrible, but I realized I don't need to work in the office. I can work from home. And I never thought I would like working from home. I love working from home. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. I'm productive. I mean, I can do other things while I'm working. I love it. So we up and sold our place in Puyallup and moved out to our what had been our future. We were going to live out here in Republic. We live on Lake Curlew, beautiful little lakefront lot,
Oh,
and yeah, we just decided to up and do it. So we sold and lived in our travel trailer here for a couple of years just because we weren't sure what we were going to do. And now we're converting a little house it wasn't even a house, it was just like a little outbuilding on the property into a tiny house. I'm crazy about it. Oh, crazy about this house. So little bitty house on our lake and life is good.
oh, that's fantastic. And so you
Hmm.
probably have ongoing projects all the time. What kind of
Oh,
loans
yeah.
did you get for yourself for this?
Well, we did it for cash just because we had the money for, from selling the house. But my husband's a veteran, and if we were going to start from scratch with a construction loan, I just learned, I didn't even know about this until recent years because when I was a direct lender, my lender didn't offer it, but VA has a crazy good construction loan.
Yeah,
Really, really, really good. So if we were going to do a construction loan, I would do a VA one. Fantastic.
that's awesome. Awesome. So everyone listening, if you're a vet, that's an
I
amazing.
had no idea. I
Yeah.
had no idea. It's really good. I mean, I was just working with somebody who, I mean, they were going to do a long story, but I mean, one of the things I like about VA loans is there's no down payment required, so they didn't even have to have equity in the property. For them, they were self-employed, so we did all kinds of crazy math. Their debt ratio was well over 50. It was like 60. But because we can use residual income instead of just debt ratio, long story, they qualified for
Yeah,
this. I mean, it was great.
that's awesome.
Really high debt ratio, and it was fine because they could afford it if you did the math a different way. It's just for a traditional construction loan, wouldn't have qualified. VA, easy.
Yeah, that's
So I'm all
incredible.
about that.
I love it. I love
Mhm.
making people's dreams come true, right?
I like surprising them. I like that they don't think they could do it.
Yeah.
One of my favorite things I've been doing lately is, somebody will call and they're not sure. I said, I'll tell you what, let's look at your credit and your income and everything, and I'll tell you exactly what you qualify for right this minute, and then we'll make a plan.
Yeah.
And almost always they qualify for way more than they thought they did, and they're more ready than they thought they were.
Oh, great.
And that way I'm not pushing them into anything, but I'm giving them information because I feel like a lot of people they hear the news, oh, the rates are really high and oh, the market's really bad, and they just assume they can't do it. So I
Yeah.
like to give them the information so that they might be surprised and go, oh my gosh, I can do it. Who knew? You know? And then they can decide if they want to move forward or not versus just have this, oh, ho hum, I can't do it because,
Oh, yeah.
the news says the rates are too high, you know?
Right. Right. Yeah. And I've got some feedback, I think mostly coming through my social media of, oh, because I didn't buy a house when I was in the third grade, I'll never be able to own a home. Like, it's not
Oh,
like that. There's so many other ways to get into a home. Just because you were a little kid during the 2008 crash doesn't mean that it's not possible for you.
oh gosh, I crashed in '08. I mean, I crashed and burned, I mean, terribly.
Yeah.
And here on homeowner, twice over since then. And
Yeah.
you just, you have to, as far as home ownership, you just have to look at right this minute, not,
Mm.
boohoo the past or the future. Where am I right this minute?
Yep.
And if they don't qualify now, at least they can get with someone like me that can put them on the path so that they can move forward intelligently with good data versus just, oh, I wish I could, I wish I could. Now you can if you do this, this, and this.
Yep. Yep. I love it. Any last words to leave people with if they're exploring their ideas, whether it's first time homebuyer or maybe they've been a homeowner for 20 years, but everything's changed? What would you like to tell them?
Get information.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power. My time is not so valuable that I can't spend, whatever you want on the phone talking with your options. And I think people are reluctant to, oh, I don't want to waste anybody's time. Not a waste of time at all. Even if they do not end up working with me, give a call. I'm happy to
Yeah.
be an advocate.
Not to mention, I find it kind of fun. So
It
it's
is fun. I enjoy the puzzle. I mean,
great. I'd rather look for your dream home than for my dream home. So give me something to work with.
well, yeah. And honestly, sometimes in weird little situations, I learn something. I mean, the market's always changing. And,
Mhm.
I had my friend call and say, hey, I'm thinking we want to buy a place in Mexico. Do you think we can finance it? Um, I probably can't, but doggone, I'm going to figure this out for you. I mean, it's
Right.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much for chatting today, Rosemary. This was so lovely. So, friends,
Thank you.
man, if you want to talk to Rosemary, we'll put her contact information in the notes of this podcast. And she's very easy to find on Facebook because she's just easy to find. That didn't sound right if we clip it there. And as you can tell,
Edit that one out. No.
cut. As you can tell, we have a good time working together. We make a great team. And if you think Rosemary is your jam because you got to know her on this podcast, please give her a call, tell her your ideas and your dreams, and she will give you straight up good information every time.
Thanks, Nikki. Appreciate you.
You bet. So thanks for listening to Real Life in Real Estate. I'm Nikki Robbs in Tacoma, Washington. This is Rosemary Godwin everywhere in Washington. So give us a call if you think we can help you.